rather than like, oh, you have mental health issue, like that type of thing. Like, no.
I mean, I wouldn't point fingers lah if I was you. But yeah, so sometimes I think... Welcome to React, where we unpack Reddit stories from youth for youth.
We are your hosts. I'm Delvyn.
I'm Jackie.
And in today's episode, we'll examine if it's possible to sustain close friendships even if your bestie is struggling with their mental health.
Before we start, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell.
Your affirmation would go a really long way in helping us produce more content like this for our community. So Jackie, our story for today is about OP, who has been friends with girl A for about 6 to 7 years. Girl A has ADHD and social anxiety and also depression, which is quite a bit actually. So OP feels like they've been understanding and handling these issues with A, but progress has been lagging however. OP is also beginning to feel overwhelmed by A's frequent trauma dumping and is conflicted about their relationship in the sense of her patience is thinning. So she's torn between ending the friendship or trying to salvage it. And they just want advice on what's the best way forward. What do you think, Jackie?
Personally, I feel that it's a bit of a moral dilemma because on one side, you want to be there for your friend, but like what the OP said, right, the friend kept, trauma dumping him, which can be a lot. So sometimes I feel like you need to be a bit selfish. You need to care for your own mental health first before you can take care of other people. But that's just how I think. I think it really depends on the context as well as the extent towards the friend was doing it. Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I think, but also at the same time, I feel like being diagnosed, I think it would be better to go and see a specialist rather than a friend.
But what if, the person does not have the capability, financially, or just maybe in terms of commitment, they can't go and visit a specialist, or maybe just the simple fact that they are not comfortable enough to confide in another stranger?
Well then, I think that becomes hard then, because there's a fine line between being best friends and being venting to a person and expecting them to hear everything, even though I'm close friends with a lot of people, I don't go around telling them every single one of my problems,
Yeah, definitely.
Because we can be kind, we can help other people and all, but we also have to be mindful with what we get from them,
For me, I feel that in the perspective of the OP, as a best friend, he should be there for his friend when it comes to this kind of issues. But there is a line. There's a line between being good friend versus being too overly, over trauma dumping your friend, which can give the OP a lot of mental issues lah. Mental burden, sorry.
I mean, I was just thinking about, have you ever thought about being close to somebody, really close, as in your best friend with this person for so many years? But have you ever thought whether they're going through something on their own, going through their own mental health issues? I feel like that's an important issue we need to tackle because sometimes we may not even realize that,
Actually, how do you tell? Yeah, how do you tell?
I feel like it's just about being observant in that sense, rather than oh, you have mental health issue. No.
I mean, I wouldn't point fingers lah if I was you.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
But yeah, so sometimes I think all it takes is just a bit more attention to the people around you, noticing whether they are behaving a bit, just paying attention to whether they are, being different than usual, and yeah.
Do you have a close friend or partner who may be suffering from mental health issues but are unaware of it?
Would you do anything differently if you found out that they are indeed struggling with mental health issues? Let us know in the comments down below.
So, Jackie, how do you think we should deal with these situations once we are aware?
Slap, sorry. I'm kidding.
Oh God. I just wasn't expecting that.
If I were to know that my friend were to be going through these kind of issues, right, the first thing I would do is actually to ask them out and sit them down to have a talk and be like, okay, I want to be a friend that you're comfortable in confiding with, confiding to. Yeah, so you don't have to tell me what's going on now, but when you're ready, I'm always here to listen.
I think I fully agree with you in the sense of always let the person know that you're there for them. Always let them know that you're an outlet for them to confide in.
I think to add on to what you just said, the OP or the person who's trying to provide help, they should know their own limit first. So by knowing your own limit, you know how much, emotional capacity you can offer for the person to listen to them, to confide. Make sure they are not over trauma dumping you, of course. And with that being said, then you see what's there available to offer to help them. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I fully agree with you. I think we have to know our limits on the support that we can provide, right? So I think it's important to give ourselves time to process whatever's just been told to us, and not like just immediately like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. I think it's important to take in what we're getting and then sit on it for a while, let it digest, let it register, and then maybe help them create a support network that can help aid them, like you said, with their parents, with their friends and all that. Yeah. Right, Jackie, so we've talked a lot about mental health in this episode, and I think it's important that we also acknowledge the fact that there are Singapore-based helplines that can help you to process whatever you're going through. So here you go, guys. Here are some Singapore-based helplines that you can reach out to either as a caregiver or person with mental health issues. That's all for today's discussion. If you like what you've seen and wish to see more of such content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below.
Make sure to catch us next Monday on Redefine's channel.
Bye!